TheRantCast. All right. After a little bit of time, we're back on the TheRantCast. Episode 18. You can tell by my voice that I've been away, but I'm back. And we're listening to Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Listen to some cyberpunk fight music on White Bat Audio YouTube. Check it out. And I got my co-host here, StrangeBus, for episode 18, No Pulse.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, and it looks like it's kind of an empty gallery right now, but that's never stopped us before. We still got the rage, we still got the anger, and all the other things.
I'm fired up.
Really fired up. All
Watch
right.
me come in all fired up.
Let's get rid of some of this background.
Be like the nature boy.
Woo! Ric Flair on the TheRantCast. All right, so for topics tonight, we've got No Pulse. I picked that title because despite our initial excitement from the world of Avalon Hill, looks like PulseCon is going to be a no-show for HeroQuest. I mean, they put out this trailer for PulseCon, which of course is the it's not really a trade show. It's just basically a 4-hour commercial, 6-hour commercial for Hasbro Pulse and their stuff. They had the HeroQuest icons that they were showing in the trailer. Then they released a second trailer and they didn't have those anywhere. They were just mentioning all the other stuff, the G.I. Joe and the Transformers and the Power Rangers and everything else. And I guess they're not even going to have a full segment for Avalon Hill. It's just going to be an announcement of some kind. So we don't know at this point what it's going to be, if they're just going to acknowledge what we already know, or if they're going to say, oh, and Against the Ogre Horde's coming out. So I guess we'll just be watching to see what happens there. So kind of disappointing, but it's not the first time we've kind of gotten the short end when it comes to PulseCon. I mean, in past years with Gen Con, they've done their big reveals. On the other hand, when we got the Rise of the Dread Moon, that's what that was. I mean, it was like PulseCon, and here's a little quick image, and then we speculated about that for 6 months. So it's possible there could be something small that we'll see. It'll be a lot of waiting, and that's tomorrow. Tomorrow that'll happen, well ahead of our stream. And yes, I will be back to streaming on HeroQuest fans Friday and Saturday. Friday we do our Mage of the Mirror game in the afternoon, 2 to 4 p.m. And then Saturday, 6 to 10, do our Rise of the Dread Moon. So that's happening in the world of HeroQuest. Not a lot going on. I mean, they released the PDF for the Rise of the Dread Moon for the quest book. And I've noticed that they always wait two months to release it, almost as if they know people are gonna get the spoilers out there, so they just wait just long enough so that they can keep the surprises going. Because they have that thing done well in advance. Like, why would it take so long to release that? But now they've got high quality images, so people like Squidge Monster, who are making the HeroQuest Builder page where you can make your own quests, he can easily import those into his program there. And nothing new with the companion app. It's pretty much just the same as it was. And that's basically it.
Cool.
But I haven't really, I think you and I, StrangeBus, we've talked about some of the stuff happening in the world of HeroQuest, of Star Wars. And I have not brought myself to at any point to be like, yeah, I should watch some of these new shows coming out. I should go check it out. I just kind of like go, eh. So, like that's how motivated I am to really get into it. So not a lot of
Well,
excitement there. I
well,
know.
I'd love to tell you, brother, but I seem to be invisible.
He's invisible.
I'm
You
not showing up on your camera.
you need a minute there?
No, I'm actually here, but on your screen, I seem to be frozen.
Oh shoot.
I even did a Ric Flair intro and everything, and it's not showing up. Hold on.
Oh, there
Don't.
he is.
Oh, you unfroze me. You had a chance to escape. I don't know why I'm frozen. I keep freezing on your end,
That's
but
weird. Well, at
you
least we
need to unfreeze me.
got you at a good pick there.
Can you like? Is it because you're clip? Oh, there I am. Why am I like? Ooh, oof, oof.
Welcome to
There we go.
2007, guys.
Can I? Am I moving? Am I moving? I'm moving. There we go. There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm back.
Hey.
I teleported.
It's like
I
people.
needed to teleport from home real quick.
I'm looking good.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Oh yeah. The green rises to the top. Anyway,
Good to
if
have
you
you.
already know me, but I'm the StrangeBus, also known as Josh. You can find me at twitch.tv/TheStrangeBus. I don't know. I'm feeling extra wrestly today.
Extra squirrely.
Oh yeah.
You're
Oh yeah.
coming to us live from an undisclosed location
Undisclosed in Oklahoma.
in the shadow realm.
Oklahoma City. Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
Um,
Yeah.
if you can hear me, that's great. I'm using the hotel Wi-Fi, so if I tend to cut out or if shit gets really nasty, I apologize about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a duct tape cast, um, so my rant's going to be kind of low brow, and
Yeah.
it's going to sound really shitty.
You hear
So
someone pound on the wall. Hey,
I'm
go to
making do.
sleep.
Oh,
Trying to
I
do
don't
the
give a
link
shit.
hit.
People are banging out there right now. So,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, where I'm at is kind of it's not freaky, but it is very strange. There's a drug problem over here. So,
Oh, that's rough.
because it's not too far away from the airport, so there's a lot of zombies. A lot of people roam the streets, literal zombies, and people scratch their faces and they just stand out there not doing anything. I've seen a lot of weird shit, like um,
And this is not like the good
people
kind where
crawling out of storm drains. And
you put Thriller on and people
no,
start dancing in the streets.
no,
Not like
it's
that. Oh, sad.
like there's a routine this last week where some like because Oklahoma has like 6 lane highways and there's also like by where my hotel is there's like a busy street with a median in between like a small like walkable median that separates oncoming and incoming traffic and there's a dude every morning since I've been here that walks up and has an argument with himself in the middle of that busy highway. Nobody stops him or anything. He just yells at himself, flails his arms and stuff. I don't know if he goes to eat, stops to use the restroom because every time I come back from work, he's still there.
Dang.
And and it's not just there. There's groups of them by the other hotel. But it's just freaky. So, um, yeah, it's been an experience, and I was very close to just after this podcast, and all right, I'm driving home. I'm just driving home, but because my last trip here wasn't as bad, but it's yeah, I've just been ordering food in and like because where I live before, I've seen my fair share of like crap, but like it's just uncomfortable. So um, but yeah, besides that, it's been okay. Just here for work, and my work experience has been fine. It's been fun. A lot of good people. I've met a lot of good people,
That's good.
and I've learned a lot of cool stuff. So, but yeah, to get back on track, you covered HeroQuest, right?
Yeah, I've pretty much said what I was gonna say. Like I said,
Oh
not much
fuck, that was a
happened.
quick power hour,
I
brother.
I know. Usually I can go on. Well, it may sound like I'm saving my voice. I'm really not. I'm pretty much back to normal. I just sound
Okay.
like I've got a cold probably for the next couple weeks. But yeah, I'm sure once whatever that little scrap of hype news it comes out, then we'll be scrambling over it. But for now, there's just nothing going on. Nobody's talking. It's just pretty quiet.
Well, let me get your Ghiblis like riled up a little bit. Took me a little bit to wake up, so because I did take a small little power nap.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's been a little while. So for anybody who's watching the Rantcast, whether it's live or in the VOD,
Yep.
welcome. A couple little updates. I will be doing some live streaming of my own again and picking back up. If I'm not working, I'll be streaming at night. Um, so keep an eye out either Friday or Saturday. This Friday will be the Baldur's Gate giveaway. So if you don't own Baldur's
Oh,
Gate 3 and you're wanting to grab a copy, you can tune into the StrangeBus channel and just participate, be part of the chat, and stick around for the giveaway.
are we gonna
And I draw
be?
your name.
Wait, anyone
What's
can
that?
win? Anyone can win Baldur's Gate 3?
Anyone, anyone who doesn't have a copy.
Dang. I hope
So I
I'm
mean,
not.
you could just lie. I'm a copy of it.
I'm not gonna. Am I gonna be competing with your stream there? What times are you streaming?
It'd be Friday, probably around 9 o'clock ish.
Oh,
I don't
Friday's
know.
no big deal.
So I don't know yet, but I'm gonna try to do
Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. I'll probably start if I can. If I'm not doing anything Friday, because like I said, after this week they're gonna start putting me to work. So I'm gonna try to do Friday at night. Because I know I'm not gonna be super late. But if they put me on a job, it might be pretty late. If I don't do Friday, it'll be Saturday if I have to delay. But um, yeah,
Saturday.
anytime when I have to put the kids down.
We could raid you on
But
Saturday at least, maybe.
well, if I can make it Saturday because I'm not doing anything, and I know I could probably talk to my wife about putting the kids down a little early, but we'll see. Might be able to make it for at least an hour and hang out with you guys before getting online. So, like I said, I'll be try to be free, a little bit more free now that I'm not in training or doing stuff anymore. So, regulated schedule. But now on to topics. I have got a list of games for 2023 since we're coming close to the end of the year. Getting on to the end of the year. We're in September, right? We got a couple months left. Um, we've got some real bangers for this year.
Yeah.
2023 has been a great year for video games, and just starting off with the beginning of the year, we've got um, with the release of Hogwarts Legacy, which had its fair share of issues on its own. It was still a pretty good game to launch with. You had Resident Evil 4.
Hmm.
Um, you had, oh my god. See, I even had my list and I totally forgot about it. Uh, we've had Baldur's Gate. We've had Starfield. We've had, jeez. See, and I had my own list on my own computer, my main computer.
Oh, yeah, that's the problem.
Big.
Well, so we've got like the beginning of the year and then up till now. But yeah, what was happening in between?
Oh, and with the big release of Cyberpunk DLC that's coming out. I think it's either out today or it'll be out here in the next couple days. You had Aliens Dark Descent, Aliens Fireteam Elite, just some of the stuff that I've been streaming lately in the past year.
Oh, Fireteam
Dave
Elite
the
came out
Diver.
this year.
Oh no, it came out last year. Sorry. Dark
Dark
Descent
Descent.
is what I'm
Dark Descent.
mainlining. So sorry, I kind of had to pull some of this out of my head because my list is at home. but those are some of the main ones that I've been streaming, and the ones that came out this year.
Hmm.
Just some of the big games of the year. Some of my candidates for games of the year. So if you don't own those games, those are some of the big ones that I would actually take a look at. But Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty is releasing here soon, and it's one I'm going to be taking a look at. But Boulder Gate and Starfield are ones that I'm looking at now, and Baldur's Gate 3 has been my serious candidate for a game of the year, and I don't usually put
Yeah.
RPGs like those,
Yeah, that
but
game really seems to have grabbed you. I mean, you're not the type of guy that's gonna just like gush over a game that that sucks. That's just a flash in the pan kind of thing.
oh no.
I watched you play it for quite a while. Baldur's
Yeah, I've
Gate
got a couple
3.
streams up. I've been playing it in sections on stream, so like it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but um, like literally anybody who's been streaming it has been streaming it in like 7 hour intervals, and as much as I'd like to do that, um,
I did see something funny
yeah,
with that game recently. Maybe you've seen this, but somebody
mm,
shared it in my Discord. They have the bear. I don't know if it's the owl bear or whatever, but it's some big creature that you turn into. But they had like stacked up like boxes and stuff. It's like this huge like tower that they climbed up on, and they did like a Macho Man Randy Savage like elbow drop off the top. Some like
see,
super move.
it's what I'm talking about. You,
It,
if you can do it,
they were trying
3D,
to,
you can do it.
but it was like, okay, that's the sort of thing like I would do in a game. Like, oh man, I wonder if you could maximize your damage by leaping off the top rope off
And
some
it's
construction.
shit that I don't think about, which makes my stream boring because if I don't have chat around, like I am like literal just warrior in those types of games. Like
Sure.
that's what I think about. I think with my sword. So
Yeah.
I don't think intuitively enough to where when you play like a spellcaster or a druid, like I can transform into an animal and go through a small space, or I can like can I pour water on this and make it slippery enough to where I can
Trying to break the
increase
net,
my speed and jump off this ledge or like
break the
yeah,
magic
like I
system.
can think yeah, like I can think intuitively enough like if I can like, use feather fall and jump off a high enough cliff I can not take damage. But like some people get really fucking creative
Yeah, I like
and
that.
it's
And the game
it's
rewards you
crazy, like
for
stuff
it.
I would never think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Like you can literally raise just about any major creature from the dead and speak to them. Like even companions. So if you kill a companion in that game, I'm not gonna really spoil it, but you can grab like a quest from them when they die. Something that would take you a good chunk of the game to get through, and you can probably still do it once you reach Baldur's Gate, which is where I'm at right now. I'm at the final act of the game,
And what actually is
but
Baldur's
I'm
Gate
probably gonna go.
for
It's the city that you'll reach towards the end of the game.
oh, okay.
It's a pretty big city too.
For somebody who
It's
doesn't know
the
D&D lore.
well, it's Baldur's Gate is just its own game, but like this, it's like it goes off the D&D system, so it's dice rolls and pen and paper. Um, but that's the great part about it is there's a whole thing to this game. Like you think you know what's going on, and then you make one move, and that move could fuck you into the next act. So um, I don't even really know how to explain it with trying to remain spoiler free. So it's just like I said, it's I remember like when I first played KOTOR or like Mass Effect, like a lot of those actions changed how the game played, and like you didn't know if like there were certain points in the plot or a major point in decision making where you were like, oh no, if I kill this person, does it fuck me the rest of the game, or like does it do something? And back then it was only like major points of the game, right? This game is if you can miss a whole section of one part of the act just by walking past like a canyon and forgetting to do a quest.
Oh shoot.
I have done it just because the map is big. So like you'll go and do the first part of the act. You'll go into Emerald Grove, and if you do what I do when I first play the game and you answer honestly, you can miss the entire grove, which is like 7 hours long, whole bunch of quests because they will kick you out, and it will because there's like a conflict between two different factions in that grove. You've got druids and tieflings, and they're clashing because the druids own the grove and they want to kick everybody out. And if like the druids right now are kind of fighting, so you'll run into a little conflict there. And if you tell the druids like "fuck you," I need to talk to somebody, they'll be like they'll start fighting you and they'll start killing the tieflings because they want everybody out. And then you'll just lock yourself out of the grove completely. So like you'll miss the entire section. Like my first playthrough, I missed the entire section of that. I missed all my companions almost. Like I missed a whole bunch of shit. When I replayed as a paladin, I got a whole different storyline,
So it feels like a very
and it was
vast world.
well, yeah. And even the first act, it was like 6-7 hours shorter, but like I still got a lot out of the first act still because there was still an extra town you got to go to. You had to do like 2 or 3 extra quests. I went back and did one of my companions' quests instead of taking because there's 2 routes to get to Act 2. I took both routes just to cover ground. And my replay, I only took one route and I missed a whole bunch of quests. So, like I said, it's meant to be played multiple times, like truly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it has its glitches. Yes, it's had its issues, but they're fixing them. And like, it's a lot more understandable when there's a game there, like a legit playable game. It's not covered in crust like Cyberpunk was at release, and it's a something that you can get into. You know, down to your character, down to your character's companions, down to the things that you interact with the world. And like some people might not be into it because it's not like, you know, uh, it's not like fully, first person interactable.
Yeah.
But the only thing that to me that it's lacking is like a full on third person type situation. I would dig like a more level camera because you can get a more level camera when you play in controller mode. Oh, speaking of which,
Camera hack.
the game has 2 different types of UIs. Like it has 2 different types of like play settings. Like so, if you play with a mouse and keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
your HUD for like your inventory, your character, like health, everything is different than when you play with a controller. As soon as you put a controller in, or you play on console, how your character's inventory, your companions, all your HUD, it completely changes.
Hmm.
It fits better for controller.
Interesting.
Is a ton of work because most of the time they just make it more easier to use with a controller, but the HUD is the same. Nope. It has like MMO like HUD settings with mouse and keyboard. But when you switch over to controller, like if you need to do actions, it's all done on a wheel. So it's easier to use with a controller. So they accommodated controls for each setting.
But it's not like
And
constraining you.
yeah, it's attention to the craft.
That's important.
Very important.
A lot of games
So like I said,
over the years have bugged
I
me
know the
that
topic
they
is
feel dumbed down, to just a controller or
I know
mobile.
the topic is top 2023 games, and like I said, I'm probably not pulling every game that I have on my list. But like I said, the Resident Evil 4 remake was um, a great homage to the original, and I know some people like to put it in its own wheelhouse. I'm going to go ahead and say that as a standalone game, if you've never played the original, that was a contender to Game of the Year because it was whether you played the original or not. It's going to have another DLC release here soon. It's going to have a Mercenaries update. like the original game did. It's going to include Wesker and Ada, and it's going to have a Separate Ways DLC, which you may have to pay for, but I'm willing to do that. But just like in the original RE4, it's going to release a Separate Ways DLC, which is going to have the entire story with Ada in it. And like I said, everything was kind of done a little differently, kept the game fresh, so that if people didn't play the original game, they were still able to experience Resident Evil in a whole new light. For like both original and new players. So like Capcom really brought it home, just like they did with Resident Evil 2 remake, and I still stand by 3 remake, even though it was short and was done with the B team. But I still think that was done pretty good. They recycled a little bit, but they still did pretty good. And I'm waiting to see what they do next. So, and then with the Cyberpunk release that's coming out, what CD Projekt Red is doing is they're just redoing the whole system, just for DLC. So they're pretty much doing what the game was supposed to be like back in the day, which may piss people off, may make people happy. Which I think what they're doing is they're just catering to their current fans. So if you've been a player of Cyberpunk 2077 for a while, this is something you might look forward to. Phantom Liberty is coming out. It features Idris Elba as well, so you have another actor that's thrown in there. I could live with or without that, but I don't mind. I think it's kind of cool. And also, you've got a better inventory system, level system. They've redone the entire game for a stealth mechanic, I believe. So you're going to get a whole new gameplay style when you pick that up. And then, like I said, Baldur's Gate 3, and then I'll go to Starfield here as well. Sorry, I'm talking way too much, taking up all your time, but
No, I don't mind at all. It saves my voice a little bit.
just catching up for all the rant casts I've missed. And trust
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I'm gonna get to it once I get to Star Wars. But the Starfield, which I do have some ranting to do, because Starfield has reached 10 million copies, and it is a Bethesda game. It is the most Bethesda game of all time.
The most
I'm going to
Bethesda game
give
in
a
Bethesda.
yeah. I call it Starfield because it reminds me of Garfield. Garfield, you fat cat. So I've just been calling it Starfield.
So what is this? I'm hearing about like you go to new planets, but they're the same as the old planets, and everything's the same.
It's No Man's Skyrim pretty much. It's not a direct copy, right? Because you can do there's an actual storyline. If No Man's Sky actually did what they promised to do back in the day, they put cities in their game and they actually incorporated crap in their millions and millions and billions of planets. And they did what they were supposed to when they actually launched the fucking trailer back at like almost 10 years ago. You'd have this. Now, this is a AAA title, so there's not millions and billions of planets. This is based off an actual galaxy you can travel through. I thought there was only supposed to be 4 or 5 planets. Actually, everything's populated. There's a universe here. But the biggest thing is most of these universes, I think, are empty. They're mostly to mine resources. But there's a story there. You're going... Did you knock on my wall? You can actually go to different planets and
Turn into a horror movie.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being too loud. I don't know. You knocked my door for being too loud. But
Got Ric Flair next door.
you can actually
Woo!
right? You can actually go to different you actually go to different cities and stuff like that. And there's different factions like in Fallout. So whole different experience, whole different ballgame. But I don't know. They said it was done with a new engine, and uh, it just feels still like the same Bethesda engine because the characters are kind of lifeless when they look at you, and they don't. Everything just kind of has that Fallout slash Skyrim feel, you know, which is that's the disappointing factor to me. Is there is a sci-fi action journey here, but they still do that cut to camera when they have to talk to you, and they always have like this blank stare, when they're talking or looking at you, and your character just looks like a robot. Even with the character creator being as detailed as it is, there are good and bad factors to this game.
So it's
This
like
game has a very vast open galaxy you can go to. It's got a great, it has a very interesting storyline.
the
It's got a lot to do.
space miner, just like you, until I took a laser to the ankle.
Kind of, but like, I mean, you can create your character down to like what his origins and shit. Like, so that's the cool part.
Sounds
The
good.
the weird part is it's just like, you know, it's wacky as in like it just once you get into the world, a lot of the world feels iffy. The ship creator though is great. You can once you get your ship, it's a lot of it's modular, so you can build on it or buy new ships. So
Can you build the
that's
Millennium
fun.
Falcon?
No,
Oh,
it's a lot of it's built on like realistic, like futuristic space like thrusters and whatnot.
oh, okay. So,
Some people are trying to convert it to Star Wars already, so that's fun. Like they're putting stormtroopers and shit in it, and they're trying to do a full conversion. So
but it's less
once that's more detailed,
swashbuckling, sci-fi fantasy, and more like they're going for more of a realistic,
well,
grungy look.
it's on my stream if you want to take a look at it. But like you can be like you can be like space trucker or marine or pirate or whatever. But um, you do have that chance to like just do that swashbuckling type of adventure. It's just it's less. I don't know how to say it. It's less Star Wars, more Battlestar Galactica. I would say, or
Oh,
Star Trek Enterprise, maybe. I don't know. The ships are meant to be more
like low power.
logical.
Yeah.
No, they're just meant to be more because, like, when a vehicle stops, it has to have something stopping it in space, right? So you have to have thrusters to stop it,
Yeah.
or so that's what we're talking about. So when you're building the ship has to have it calculates thrust, it calculates maneuverability, it calculates all of that. It's not super detailed to the point to where it's frustrating, but like you do have to calculate that. So the more crap you add onto your ship, the less maneuverability it has. You have to add engine power. You have to do that stuff, and that's the cool part. But hey, Ruby.
Ribby,
But yeah,
Rantcast.
real quick, I'm going to use the restroom. We'll be right back. If we want to take a BRB, that's fine, and then I can get into Star Wars. But I do have to use the restroom, so I apologize.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, thanks for checking us out on the Rantcast. We'll just take a little BRB, like you said, and listen to some Karl Casey.
Thanks, guys.
Rantcast, and we're back.
Rantcast. And we're back.
We're back.
hoping for. Oh, well, that's you. You said hoping for ogres.
Yeah, Polsky wasn't
I
here,
always
so I had
enjoy.
to ban the bot. What's
I,
that?
I always I always enjoy Ribby's memes. He sends me really good memes on my channel. He helps keep
Dank,
my Discord alive.
dank memes.
So thanks to Ribby for
Ruby's
keeping the channel alive.
Ruby's remarkable rims. Righteous
I
rants.
always thanks think I always think Polsky as well, but he's kind of gone a little bit. So
Yeah, can increase the dankness if you want.
okay.
It says. Only use 1% of my dank power.
Look, man, that freezer meme's gonna keep going if you want it to be.
So
This isn't even my final form.
you've been it's not even your final form. Yeah, you've been treating a lot of people with a lot of disrespect, including Star Wars.
You have a lot of nerve showing your face around here
After what you pulled.
after what you pulled.
So every day I hear how little people care about Ahsoka.
Well, I don't know about that. I haven't really looked. So
And
let's see.
we
Let's
were
take a look.
before the show began, we were kind of talking, and I was kind of thinking out loud about how we go through these cycles, and it's like if you were like an 8-year-old kid watching Clone Wars when it started, like you're in your mid 20s now. It's like, dang, I'm freaking old. And Rebels was
So
like
here's
2014 to 2018. So it's like a trajectory of like we get these cycles of Star Wars.
here's what we got, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'll kind of go through it a little bit, but I want to make sure I've got this correct. So I'll kind of reference two different two different articles. I agree with you, Ribby, but I'll kind of counteract that argument too,
42 on Tuesday.
or that statement
Happy
too. So
birthday.
we've got, and like I said, let me know if my voice is too low, or if you need to raise me up there a little bit, Kurgan.
Oh,
Um,
I'm
we've
usually the
got
quiet one.
Star Wars. Well, yeah, but so we've got Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is coming out here next year, possibly. Andor season 2, which is August of next year.
Dang.
Um, Star Wars The Acolyte TV series next year. They have a Star Wars movie by Taika Waititi, which is in development.
Wait,
A
what is it?
James Mangold ancient. It's a movie that Taika Waititi is making.
Oh, okay.
He's been he helped do Thor one. Was it Love and Thunder, and
JoJo
he's done a couple
Star.
other things.
I just remember him from JoJo
But
Rabbit.
and then he's pretty well known. James Mangold's Ancient Jedi movie is in development. They have Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie. I don't know what that is, unless they're making a Mandalorian movie, but
Oh,
it's also in development. The Charmin Obey Chinoy's Jedi Order movie in development. Rogue Squadron, which is they say it's
back on the menu.
in high. No, it's status unknown, which I mean, they put it on
See,
hiatus
they
pretty much.
yeah, and then I
Which
thought
we're
they
just are
canceled it.
looking at it
Now,
being canceled.
uh,
The Lando movie, which is status unknown. Rangers of the New Republic, which was presumed canceled.
they're gonna leave Lando
Uh,
alone, but I guess.
there was another movie which was presumed canceled. Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy, which was presumed canceled. Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie was canceled, and then Devin Beanoff and DB Weiss's Star Wars movies were canceled. So far, that's what's in development and what's going on right
Wow.
currently. I could be wrong. There could be more. So I'm referencing other articles, but like I said, with Ribby
Given their
going
track
on right
record
now.
of
Oh,
cancellations and
happy
delays,
birthday, by the way.
yeah, happy birthday. I was gonna say, it's almost like the only thing that's for sure is nothing's for sure when it comes to Star Wars. Like until it's actually coming out, like
Look,
I don't even
there's
know.
just so much. There's
Hmm.
there's so much shit going on, and I can't even name it all. You know, you've got so many shows that just they even the shows that I were looking forward to having a new season, or maybe even presuming looking forward to having a new season. I don't even know if they're going to have one anytime soon because there's so much shit going on that like I don't know. I don't know if they're even planning on releasing another season in the next couple of years because they've had delays. They've had people who are you know I don't know 42 dude.
I'm just making him feel worse.
Let me take a look at. Hold on.
Ouch.
Uh, take a look at the timeline because we need to know that. That's something that's important. God, fucking even the older public is still included in here, even though it's technically not supposed to be. Even Young Jedi Adventures is part of the canon.
I saw The Last Starfighter in theaters recently. That was fun.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I wanted to play the Rogue Synapse game, but like you were saying, I it's got a problem. It doesn't run on a modern system because it's got to have 640 by 480, 16 BPP,
Mm.
and I can't force it to a lower
Oh,
resolution. My lowest resolution of my
we
video
can
card is 800 by 600.
we can talk later. But I got to play that Western game that you wanted me to play. What was it?
Oh,
The
Outlaws!
Outlaws.
Yes! Ha!
So that
Take
was
your
fun.
first step into the
Anyway,
larger world. I love that game.
so I'll just name the stuff that is currently in Star Wars right now
Dang,
because
Ruby.
I don't know if Old Republic is currently in there.
I don't know if you're kidding or not,
High
Ruby, but
Republic,
here's to you.
but Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. You got the Acolyte. You got then Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Episode 2, Attack of Clones. Then you have Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Bad Batch, which is still being
Wait, why are you
developed right now.
why are you listing off the prequels?
Because I'm listing off all of the entertainment that you're probably, if you were a fan right now, right,
Uh-huh.
and you're catching up on stuff, do you just want me to list the stuff that's currently in development? Like, because if we're doing that, stuff that's currently being used right now, there's still a shit ton. Bad Batch still technically has 2 seasons, and there's supposed to be a third one, I guess,
Oh,
right?
okay.
They're not ending it. And then what else? Kenobi, I think, is supposed to be greenlit for a second season, if I remember right. I thought. Andor has a second season upcoming, which is weird. But I would watch that. That was interesting. The Mandalorian went to 3 seasons, and I don't know if they're doing a fourth, but
The
it
the third
looks like they
season
might be. It
wasn't the third season trash, pretty much.
wasn't trash. It didn't end very well. I mean, you could watch the third season, and the third season started. To me, it started off okay. It
Hmm.
was watchable. I liked it, and then you got to the end, and it was just like they brought back the same villain, and he did something really fucking stupid. They just ripped from old canon, like they did from. This is okay. This is why I get mad at Star Wars, man. Because I tell you over and over again
Watch him try to
that
contain the rage. Yeah.
that with when you wipe the slate clean, you say the canon the EU doesn't exist. But here we're going to take dark troopers, pretty much rip the fucking art from Dark Forces
Yeah.
almost down to a T, and then put it in our Mando thing because we were fans of this stuff back when we were kids. Thanks, Dave Filoni and John Favreau. That's great. Doing an homage is fine, pretty much using it all the time is stupid. So,
It's bastardizing it.
I don't know. And then like having to go and cloning himself, I think is also stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ahsoka is supposed to have multiple seasons. They're doing Skeleton Crew. They're doing multiple movies. Like once again, like I said, you have so many people focused on so much shit that like I don't know when they're supposed to be announcing another Bad Batch season. Andor took what 2 years, almost 2 years to get another season. Like, was it a year and a half so far? So it will be 2 years, if I remember right, before it gets its second season, which is abnormal.
It's like a constant flood
The
of.
Book of Boba Fett. I don't know if they're doing a second season, and then the Mandalorian will wait probably to get its new season. And that's what I'm saying is like they're doing delays, which to me, if you need to wait longer to focus on your show, that's fine. But the reason they're taking so long is because they're stuffing so much shit. They're working people to the bone
Well,
because they don't. I don't think they have enough.
and they've got the writer strike and the actor strike thing still going on too, right?
And that's it,
Uh,
right? So what I'm saying is the
the
fact is like
CGI.
Disney's trying to operate. They're trying to operate a mass marketplace with not enough people. So, and that's what I'm saying is like maybe you should cut the shit because also your theme parks are getting hit right now due to controversy.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
And I think what is it like there's like a tax thing going on. I can't remember, but like um, they're not really at their high point right now, and I think the fact that they think that they're Disney, they think they're invincible.
Right.
So, and that's what I'm saying is
You can only bring
um,
so much money and good intentions before they.
it's not that. It's the fact that like money will only get you so far. They could have all the money in the world. It's publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity. But if you become so infamous that nobody fucking likes you anymore,
Yeah.
you can still become the most hated company in the world. And like look at EA. You can become the most hated company in the world. People will still buy your shit.
Sadly.
So, um, but word of mouth does travel fast.
Yeah.
So, like, it's different from being a video game company to being the world's most renowned theme park / company for kids.
Right.
So, um, yeah, what I'm saying is it's going to be bad if they don't get their shit together. And like I said, the fatigue is strong.
Hmm.
So, um, and that's what I'm saying is like I don't know how long they're going to keep this shit up because they want to make sure Star Wars is still fresh and Marvel is still fresh and their series are still strong. They're going to keep shows and stuff keep going on. And I think after COVID, this stuff started going downhill a little bit.
Yeah.
Not just in quality, but I think it was just the fact that like you can only stomach so much of the same food. Like I said before, the same food over and over again starts getting bland.
Yeah.
You can add different spices to it. You can serve it on a different tray. You can put different sides on it, and it will kind of flavor it differently. It will be different for a while. But you can only do it so many times. So somebody's gonna want something completely different.
Yeah. Sick
And
of
I
it.
think that's the big thing with businesses nowadays is they just don't know when to like innovate.
Yeah.
We are used to being complacent people. So
For sure. Yeah.
and
Just choking down those Big
you
Macs.
know
Getting sick of it.
well, and it's funny because we're wanting to please investors and move really, really, really fast. We don't want to think. We don't want to. We don't want to develop. We want to use our brains and innovate in a way that's being as lazy as possible, which to me is so contradictory.
Hmm.
You know, we can still make money and create some of the greatest things in the world, but we choose not to
Yeah.
because now we're stuck. We're stuck in a reality where we move so many miles a minute that it's impossible to stop, and that because we did, we would doom ourselves. So, and that goes with any industry anymore. We would have to fire people because we'd take losses, or we'd have to let people go because we'd take losses, and shit would just fall apart. So instead of ripping the Band-Aid off and sacrificing a lot of those people and learning to cope with the profit loss, and then trying to deal with how we would, you know, sacrifice some of our money, like the big people, because the big people would only give away a lot of their money. We're just going to keep doing this until we literally can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's the human condition. But, moving to the other point, is anybody ever noticed that lately a lot of people have been more complacent with Star Wars as far as, and I've talked about this on our other rantcast.
Mm-hmm.
With the prequels, I don't mind the prequel. I was a kid when the prequels came out. Now, our generation, my generation, defends a lot of it now. It's more acceptable, as opposed to when it came out. It didn't get favorable reviews. People hated on Lucas for how he treated Star Wars later on.
Yeah. For me,
And
as
now
always,
with
it was episode one. I didn't mind the other two as much, and I don't think my
well,
opinion on them has really
no,
changed. But I get what you're
but
saying.
anyway,
We've covered it.
how it was,
Yeah.
being catered to kids, right?
Hmm.
Now Star Wars once again is being catered to children in the last 10 years, and as children are growing up,
Hmm.
it's more acceptable. Because even though the downward quality has changed, as a child, when you grow to love something, it's less easier to hate. I feel, unless it's super super bad. Like, I mean, a child can't grow up watching The Room and learn to love The Room. It's
Tear me
people just
apart,
love The Room for
Lisa.
being either bad or they hate it. So
Well, I get the
I,
fact that after okay, yeah, I see Star Wars and Return of the Jedi and everything as a kid, and then I see like a million other movies, and so Star Wars doesn't seem as unique anymore. But I also can appreciate it more as a film, like things that I didn't really get as a kid, like I didn't get all the jokes or like why it was
oh
interesting
no,
that they
but
were doing all
there's
that stuff.
there's still a quality difference, right? I'm not saying that. It's just
Mm.
there are people that I feel like I don't really know how to say it, right?
I can I say
When I
this?
grew up,
I feel like new Star Wars is a remix of old Star Wars. And if you don't know anything, you're coming to it fresh and you're going, "Oh, that's kind of cool." But you don't realize this is a riff on something else that was a riff on something else that was a remix of something else. So like seeing where it
well, I
came
mean,
from, did that enhance it for you or does it make you go, "Oh, this is kind of like dry and
well,
worn out."
you can spin it however you need to spin it when you're growing up, right? Like, um, consider this: you were born in, not you, but like make an example, like if you were born in like the '60s or '70s, right?
Hmm.
And you grew up with like slapstick comedy and I don't know, things like Steve Martin or Bill Murray or stuff like that was mostly your main line. Okay. Granted, planes, trains, and automobiles was something that I enjoy
Yeah.
because I grew up watching it as a child,
Hmm.
but it wasn't my main generation of things. I can still grow up watching like Jim Carrey or um, I grew up watching a lot of more dirty humor, and I still find it acceptable. As opposed to like my parents or grandparents,
Alrighty
they
then.
can't fucking stand it, and it's it's that's what I'm kind of getting at here. Is it's a
Hmm.
level of how you grew up, right? And the same thing goes with Star Wars, is because Star Wars has developed differently over the years,
Yeah.
and I kind of describe it the same way as like with things like like Peter Jackson, right?
Hmm.
Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. And even though people didn't completely fare the Hobbit movies, there's still his stamp of how he makes the movies. Then
Hmm.
you go to watch The Rings of Power, and his it's not there.
Hmm.
Not only does it suck, but it's just like there it he made the movie to me, like, it's not Lord of the Rings without him. It's just not. So the same goes with most Star Wars. If you go to watch the sequels, or if you go to watch the prequels or the original trilogy, and then you turn around and you try to watch anything else besides like Clone Wars, because Dave Filoni tries to copy a lot of the same
Mm.
stuff. The Mandalorian has its own like twinge on it, but there's an homage in there, so it's tolerable and it's enjoyable. But if you try to watch like the sequels, there is there's a lot of wide shots. There's a lot of modern like cut stuff. It's not only very bright. None of it frames Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
at all. There's a lot of like, even if you looked at me and you said, well, we can't do that anymore because those movies were shot back in a time where we used this type of camera or this type of yeah, but you can still do your shots in a certain way to where, not everything's fucking wide angle. Or like they're showing the planets and like the text is at the bottom. And like nobody ever fucking did that in the original Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you.
Tatooine.
They just show you what it was,
Endor.
and they talk to you about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just talk to you about it. You knew where you were going because the characters described it.
Yep.
They don't just fucking cut every 2 seconds to a planet of where they're going to, and they tell you where they're going. That's what I'm saying. The cinematography is different. How everything is shot is vastly different. It doesn't feel like Star Wars because Lucas isn't buying that home.
And the humor is different.
It's no longer a story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Like I said, certain parts of that can be changed. What I'm saying is, like, when you're watching it and the scope is so different, like you're watching it through a different set of goggles, the color tone is different,
Mm-hmm.
the angle is different, to the point to where even like you could tell me you were using original swords and original puppets and all that garbage. If your color scheme or how your color tone is shot and all that stuff, if that is completely fucking different, it's not the same movie. And Lucas kept everything pretty much the same. Even when standard definition was kind of the same, things were still shot differently from the 70s to the early aughts and the late 90s. So you can't tell me that he didn't try to keep things somewhat fucking familiar.
Yeah.
Even when he was doing things radically different, like adding CGI and fucking everything. And that's why I'm saying, like, when people went to go see those movies, from being a kid to being an adult, it wasn't Lucas, because Lucas used original puppets and shit back in the day. And he went from doing that to just completely CGIing his movie.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's different.
It definitely is.
It's how you shoot. It's how you shoot your film. And because when you don't grow up with
episode 2 especially,
you don't grow up with all the computer.
This is a totally different thing.
Yeah. But and that's what I'm saying. Is like, see, I'm trying to introduce two different aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, for people who just watched the OG trilogy, and then they went back to the theater, and it was added with special effects and all that garbage, and then they started seeing the prequels, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you had kids like me who just grew up with Star Wars like this, and they watched the OG trilogy as a kid, and it was just Star Wars imagination was running wild.
Yep.
I didn't care. So how do you think a 5-year-old in 2015 who watches like the Rise, or not the Rise of Skywalker, but the Force Awakens is gonna feel? Their father gets up and goes, "What the fuck was that?"
No,
and the kid's like, "Yay!"
He gets up and goes, "Star Wars is back! Yeah. Star Wars is back!" And then like 6 months later, oh.
So like I got up from the theater and enjoyed the Force Awakens. I didn't mind it.
I dished it.
But I also did notice the tone of the film was different.
Yeah. Definitely.
But at that time, we were starstruck. I didn't think for a second there were new movies coming out ever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you
I
think
gave it a chance.
do you think a lot of the positivity towards The Force Awakens though was people coming around after hating the prequels, or do you think it was just that's just a cyclical thing? Like everybody hates the new thing and then loves the thing after it, and then like
No, to me it was the fact that it was just like you had the goggles on, right? Because once again, Disney was also before that point. Disney was still kind of fresh with the Marvel movies, and
that's true.
we
It was
didn't
like
quite
they can do
see.
no wrong. Disney's gonna save it. Lucas doesn't have it anymore.
No,
People were saying,
not not entirely. It was just the fact that Disney wasn't pumping them out all the time. They still had a lot of Marvel movies coming out,
but they were at the height of
but
their
it
power
was the
with
fact
that
that they were at that still mildly at the height. You know, the Avengers. I
Avengers
think
saga.
two
Yeah,
was coming out around that time,
yeah.
and like
Oh man, that
you
that
still had
second Avengers movie
your fresh.
was not good. But I remember how hyped it was when it came out. It's like, oh, Age of Ultron.
I enjoyed it.
Holy
See,
crap.
you see the difference, man. Like that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying is like I didn't mind
I
the
was
Ultron movie at
so
all.
let down by that. I was like, I couldn't believe how disappointed I was.
See,
Yeah,
so like I said, the difference between generations here is it's vast standing because they're to me it starts becoming a Marvel movies now start becoming a middle aged popcorn family, you know, slam fest. Something you take your kid to and you just stretch. But it's money that just gets spent at that point. So
sure. If you just if it's
but
just an event, a family event at the movies, sure, why not? But
but that's what I'm saying is
something
like
you're
either
actually gonna
way
write
they
home
make the
about
money.
that you're actually gonna put on your shelf as
And
part of your collection. Like this is one of the great films. Like
but
no, not really.
but it's always been that way, even since. Like, you know, the family's always been able to go to those movies, whether they liked it or not. So the big thing is that you'll go to the theater and you'll walk out and be like, "Oh, that was disappointing," right?
Hmm.
Do you know how many people with kids, like families like mine,
My
would
kids
have to
are
go there because their kids want to go, and they're like, "Oh."
yeah.
So
They're in line for the bathroom
once
for like
once
half
again,
the movie, but still they had a great time.
but
That's all that mattered.
and like I said, we're buying the movie for four people.
Yeah.
So once again, it's they're calculating those box office numbers and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So it doesn't matter that you saw it and hated it. Their kids are going to go see it.
Yeah.
And once again, like I said, people might be thinking I'm overlooking it or I'm digging too deep into it. I'm not. Because, like I said, you set the generation for the entertainment you watch, just like you set the generation for the people you teach and stuff like that.
Hmm. You gotta know your audience.
And this is why it's very important because we live in a world saturated with entertainment. There's other things you can watch. There's other things
Oh
you
yeah.
can do. There's
They're
other things
overlooked.
you can enjoy. You don't have to like get involved with that stuff. And that's why I'm saying like to be honest, I'm taking a break from all that new Star Wars shit. I'm not doing it. I'll report on it and whatnot, but really at the end of the day, there's enough Star Wars for me to enjoy. I don't need to sink my teeth into any of this shit. My kids can enjoy Star Wars without having to spend gratuitous amounts of money on anything else.
Yeah, you don't take him to Galaxy's
So,
Edge. Give him a $5,000 drink.
and I also spend enough on Disney Plus for my kids that's as much as Disney's getting from me. So
Yeah.
and technically that's I'm paying for that new shit anyway because that shit is on Disney Plus. So I'm
Yeah.
just choosing not to watch it. I don't need to. So,
Just go to the
um,
library.
oh my god.
My library queue. It's so amazing.
But yeah, like I said, if it was up to me, I'd just do that. But
That's how I watched the D&D movie recently. Got it from the library.
no, did you like it?
It was kind of entertaining, yeah. At the start, it was
I
like
thought it was funny.
the Marvel humor, like the jokes. Like I was like, oh no, because right off the bat. But then I realized, oh, this is just going to be nonstop throughout the whole movie. That's actually tolerable. I can handle that. Like you got one straight character and everybody else is just like kidding around the whole time. And
Yeah, it's
I actually
just
enjoyed that.
all.
and you could look at it as the banter of like some friends playing a game and messing around at a Saturday night. So it kind of worked. Definitely much improved over the first D&D movie. That thing was a train wreck.
Hey, it is, and if I can ever convince my wife to not subscribe to all that shit, I will. So that we can go all take a walk to the local library just to
Yeah.
find out that everything's checked out,
Well, see,
and we have to walk all the way back empty-handed.
that's why you get online and you queue up a bunch of crap, and then you're like, "Oh, hey, we got our 10 movies. Let's go get them." And the library's great.
Like three picky ass kids.
Uh, it's like a it's
That's
like
not an excuse, but
it,
it's gonna be a real barn burner.
it's a candy store when you're a kid. There's just so much to see and do. Ribby's joining in on this. Incredible source for movies. Shout out to local libraries.
Yeah, I know.
Games, music.
That's
Our
why.
friend has a massive stack of DVDs in the coffee table from the library. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, oh man, I got to wait for Netflix to deliver my movie. It's like just go pick them up.
Well, what era are you living in? Netflix doesn't deliver movies no more.
Yeah, my parents still get them delivered. Actually,
Seriously?
yeah. Actually, I think it's either this month or next month that they stop doing it. So they're doing it right up to the end.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Oh yeah, because I was gonna say
two per week or
they
whatever.
last time I checked, they didn't do it.
That
I'm
was the
probably
reason
gonna
to do
get
it
a
because
whole
they're
bunch of
like,
shit from Ruby for that, but
oh,
bro, I don't.
here's your digital film, and oh, it's gone. Oh, you put together your film collection, did you? Wrong, gone. But at least with the physical DVD,
Yeah,
you're
like
like, okay, as long as
no,
it's not scratched, I can just enjoy it. Remember my cue. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if
but
you
that's even worse because you're paying to have them delivered to you. Like at that point, I would just go to the library because
yeah.
then
Well, with the
it's
library,
just a place where you can just use shit up.
it depends on the library, but mine, like, you can get them for 3 weeks, and as long as nobody else has them on reserve, you can renew them twice more. So like 9 weeks to watch a movie if you want. So that could be like a season box set. So like I watched all of Firefly that way. I'd never seen it before. Um, yeah, and when COVID happened, they eased a lot of the restrictions, so they made it so you could like check out more at a time for longer, and you could like automatically renew stuff. And yeah, once in a while
I
you'll
do
get
streaming, but
there was some
my
guy
streaming
like
is done through another source.
I don't know if he like put the DVDs in his armpits or something or what, but like you'd like open up and you're like, what the hell? It's like smells like BO. Like, what is this?
Gross.
Yeah, so there's like one or two movies that you probably don't want to check out, but otherwise it's pretty good. Yeah, and it's like um
I have my
there
sources. Like I said, if I ever get my wife to stop, I was like, just have my other sources for streaming. Nothing I
mainstream
can disclose, but
yeah, any like if it's a mainstream movie, they'll have it, and if it's like an art house or like indie type thing that's like historically famous, they'll have it. And
if you
season
catch
says,
my drift, arr.
I, I think I see where you be there, me lad. Okay, laying in bed watching my monitor. Yeah, well, I mean I've done my share of streaming, but um, yeah, I don't mind if it's a DVD. I mean if it's a like be a harsh mistress, yar. Like if it's a movie I really like, I already own it, you know, and I'll go see it in the theater if it comes back. But if it's just a movie that, oh, I missed it, you know, like D&D Honor Among Thieves, like, oh, okay, I'll watch it for free, see if it was any good. Like it was all right. You know, I've been watching a lot of westerns and Chuck Norris movies. I haven't gotten to the Steven Seagal movies, but
Oh my god, don't do that.
some
Don't
are in
torture
there.
yourself with that shit.
Yeah, but he sits in a chair and he beats the guys up. Did you ever see that John Wick thing where they edited it so instead of John Wick it was Steven Seagal in a chair?
Isn't that what it is? It's
Yeah,
Under Siege, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Jesus.
He did one or two decent action movies and then the rest was history.
Yes, I too also know how to slap somebody from a chair.
Yeah. Yep. Under
I
siege.
also too know how to gain 200 pounds and also fight from a chair.
Yep.
I just would rather not do it.
I always liked the cartoon Johnny Bravo, where they had, he like worshipped Steven Seagal, but like it was a parody of him called Squint Ringo.
Yeah, dude, he's gotten some harsh shit lately, and with good reason. But
Yeah, I mean
man,
he seems to do a lot of it to himself.
but yeah, just as a final comment with Star Wars here, it's
Star
there's a
Wars.
lot of great Star Wars out there, and like to said to any kids or young adults, if you enjoy the new stuff, fine. Like I've always said, more power to you. It's um, but give the other stuff a chance because really what they're doing is they're pulling a Dane Cook, man. They're stealing jokes, and it's
Dang.
they're there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff in the Disneyverse, right? There's some good stuff there. Like I said Andor's not bad. I enjoyed it. It is the first real shit pulling a Carlos. Oh yeah, Carlos Mencia too. I just found out about that not too long ago, and
Mind
holy fuck,
Mencia.
did
Yeah,
that like that? Because I was thinking about that. I was like, what happened to him? I mean, I thought at first he just got canceled because of all that
Carlos
like stuff. He's only like dirt to
Mencia.
dirt stuff. And no, it just found out he was just stealing shit from people, and he just refuses to admit it up to this day.
Yeah.
So,
The other people
holy,
in his
and he looks
industry
awful.
had enough.
He looks fucking awful now. He just looks really bad. And I'm no spring chicken, right? I'm probably gonna look really bad in my like 40s or 50s, but like, good lord, like, and Dane Cook doesn't look good either, by the way. But at least that guy admitted to his faults, and he's like trying to like do something with his life. Like Tancia is just a wreck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's the king
Joe
of calling
Rogan.
people out.
Yep.
That guy's like a mixed bag.
He definitely is. When he's wrong, he's
Yeah,
really, really wrong. But when
but
he's
with good,
right, he's really, really right.
with good reason. And Joe Rogan's had a rough life too. But like at the end of
Yep.
the day, like I said, man, he he deserved to be called out. Um, but yeah, but there's some good stuff. Like I said, Andor was good. And I enjoyed that. Kenobi wasn't too bad. Like I said, it was good to see Hayden Christensen coming back doing something, and that guy deserved to do what he wanted to do with Star Wars too. If he wanted to come back, and he did. And according to Ewan McGregor, he wanted to do something fun with Star Wars again, and by golly, he did. So,
Well, good for him then.
um, yeah, well, like I said, you tell me you like the prequels, and then you like. I feel like that answer, that response was just very passive aggressive. Whatever, good for him. But
Well,
still not watching it.
but
Like,
see, yeah, but I'm not saying because I liked episode 2 and 3 that therefore I'm gonna want to see Hayden Christensen reprising that role in a new series. Like, what's so weird about
but
that?
why not?
Like, it just has no
But,
appeal.
but why not?
It has no draw. Like, I don't know. It's just
But why
nothing
doesn't it
about
have
it.
any draw? See, this is the interesting part about me, right? Is I will in one turn tell you how much Disney sucks with Star Wars, but in the other turn tell you positives about certain shows they
Yeah,
release. And like there are certain stories that I do get drawn in, like in the EU. There are some I'm not interested in, and there are some that I am.
I guess
And like I
because
said, everybody different
I
strokes for different folks, right? But
I try to watch this new stuff and I just find it exhausting. Like, I don't know. It feels more like a chore than enjoyment. But it's
but what
true.
makes it exhausting?
I I'm just not enjoying it. Like, I get what you're saying though. I mean, I could just like a new show comes out Just start
We,
watching
you
it.
don't need to
Just start watching
you
it.
don't need to like chew through it or anything, but I did
No,
recommend it to you.
yeah. I mean, I
And
did the
like,
4 episodes with Andor, and I just at the end of it, I just didn't really feel like continuing. It just didn't really have
okay,
anything.
so
I wasn't.
that's at least
I didn't feel invested in
trying.
the character. I didn't feel like I gotta
Well,
know what happens next.
well, and that's fine. That's fine. At
Felt
least you tried, right?
kind of boring.
You tried.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the crime drama aspect, right? There are certain crime dramas I'm into. I watch Justified. Justified's a good show for me. May not be good for you. It's kind of like a modern day western. It's about a man named Raylan Givens who
Oh,
chooses to sometimes shoot first and ask questions later. But it includes a lot of murders. It includes a lot of like running from the law or from
the crime
the
dramas.
criminals.
Yeah, the crime.
It's
I
it's
don't
a hand
do.
job.
I don't do as much of the crime dramas. I'm still trying to,
You know,
okay, expose myself to more westerns. But it's definitely
right?
not a
And
genre
Star
that.
Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars doesn't do a lot of crime drama though. So
No.
taking a chance, I decided to grow into it. Now Andor isn't a character you pretty much want to expand on due
Hmm.
to his like no offense to spoilers here, but due to his untimely demise, and it's not somebody I want to expand his character on.
Yeah.
But the series that in itself does expand on other characters and does give a really kind of decent story to Star Wars that like the EU would to me, like something I would read in a book, right? So that's something that kept me going, right? It's not just something I want to look into Andor. It was something that I would look into, like stuff that happened after Episode 3. Like before Disney took over Star Wars, there was you had stuff with Starkiller and the stuff that happened between Episode 3 and 4, the
Hmm.
fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire. That was a good section of Star Wars history that
Oh,
people wrote books on.
that made me think of something. One of the things at PulseCon, they're making action figures of Force Unleashed, like of Star Killer and the him beating up stormtroopers.
Oh,
Ribby
that's
said,
cool.
yeah, Ribby says if Jurassic Park was ever rebooted, I wanted Timothy Olyphant as Dr. Grant, though he's too old now.
Oh God. Well, he might not be too super old. He's 55. I mean, technically,
Too old to begin the training.
Grant was like, yeah, he was like in his late 30s, I think, or mid 30s when
Yeah.
they was. Yeah, he'd probably be a little too old, but um, yeah, they would have wanted to grab him around like '07 when he did Hitman. Man, I wish he did the other Hitman. Like they rebooted Hitman way too many times.
Sam Neill is like
Sam
40
Neill was 40.
in Jurassic Park.
Are you sure? Because I think I looked it up at one point in time. Because he's like in his mid 60s, isn't he? Like for the new one, I can't remember. I could be wrong.
Sam Neill
He
kind
was
of has
it was like
a
30 years ago.
grizzled look to him. He was born in 47.
He could be 70 something. Yeah. So yeah, that means my grandfather's like what 80. He's 81. So yeah, he'd be in his 70s. Yeah, you're probably right then.
76, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a hard role for him to get into. Not to mention the fact that I think they gave him a love story with what's her face in that movie, and it's just kind of weird because I actually
Cancer recently.
I proclaimed his age at the same time. I was like, Dr. Grant was probably his age, so 76-year-old man fall in love with like a 50-year-old or 60. I don't know. It just seemed weird. They waited that long.
Laura Dern.
It's fan service. Yeah, yeah, she was like 27. It was like super. It was off. You know, like it wasn't okay. It was still weird back in the day. Now, but like when you didn't notice the ages, like as you were younger in the original,
Yeah,
it was like
she's
made a
56.
little more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because they always kind of pushed into it. They were like, "Well, will they or won't they?" And then they didn't.
Yeah. But
So,
I'm
and then they
thinking of
moved on.
Jurassic Park 3, like they were totally an item. in the first movie. Like they acted
Yeah,
like
which was weird.
they
That's
acted
what,
like a married
that's what
couple.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
They were, I mean, technically it was still fine, but
yeah,
like I
he's
said, she
a
was
lot
like still in
older.
her late 20s, and he was
Yeah,
like 40.
yeah,
That was like he was like her mentor
yeah. Well, yeah, they
at
were
that
like
point.
these nerdy colleagues that they've been hanging around all the time. Yep.
Yeah, and that's insane, pretty common in Hollywood. Yeah, so and like, they did that a lot. Like they put like the older Indiana. Well, like man, look at Indiana Jones. Man, Harrison Ford was always grabbing the younger women, and
Yeah,
he
Harrison
was like
Ford, Jack
hardcore kissing
Nicholson.
those ladies. He was,
Yeah.
come here, give me a smooch. You know,
Oh man, like
gotta
Raiders
get
of the Lost
gotta
Ark.
get the girls.
I was a child and I
Yeah,
did
man.
wrong and you knew it. Oh my god.
So what? You liked it.
Statue of limitations.
That's true.
It's like, okay, that's
You
so
can't prove nothing. Yeah, you can, Harrison. It's in the movie. No, I was digitally added in that state.
it's a dial of destiny. It's time travel.
Like, bro, I'm too old for these young women.
What happens in ancient Greece stays in ancient Greece.
I played the fifth.
Like, bro, I'm too old for these young women. Oh yeah, Roger Moore. Problem with that in his last James
Yeah.
Bond role. Much older men and younger women. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is like
like
there's to be completely honest
there's
with everybody here.
fantasy-ism. Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with an older woman having you know, having a role like that. There's nothing wrong. And you know, like I said, when I was younger and watching those movies, I was too young to discern the age, so it always seemed
yeah,
like it was okay. But
sure.
then you look at it and you're like, they are much younger. So like you don't put two and two together until you actually look up the age.
This is your dad. Like what?
Like pretty much.
Like, well, and then after a while, I'm just like, okay, so this is the director saying, yeah, see, it can work. See, you
Or
younger
like
ladies, not interested in
gap,
that old grizzled old director here.
like, like an 8 year gap, as long as like they're relatively within the same age group, fine. But like it's always like most of the time like the woman, especially in like the 80s and 90s films.
Hmm.
So like you're always thinking like it's got to be like they're casting the woman because they have to look super pretty and stuff like that, and by
Yeah,
by a certain age they're thinking they're not. So like it was really bad. That is definitely something I was
it gets a little absurd.
definitely something I'm against. Is
Yeah,
yeah, that I thought was absurd because Jason Moore's last Bond film, he was like 57 or something. A Bond girl was like 22. Yeah, that's way fucking off.
or like
And
even like Jimmy
I don't
Stewart.
think in
Like I
any
love Jimmy
style.
Stewart, but it's like in some of these, it's like he's got the love interest. It's like like his granddaughter, just about. It's like, come on, who
Yeah,
are you
and
kidding?
I don't think in any style any girl would be willing to kiss somebody who's in that age. Like
Unless you're Hugh Hefner
at that
and
point
just
you're
taking his cash.
well, even then, like it's still there's no interest at all. You're pulling that all out of your
Sure.
ass. So like oh, but yeah. So anyway, like I was saying before, I got into Andor because it was a crime drama. Kenobi wasn't bad. Um, and
Well, I
The
definitely think
Mandalorian, it's up to you. I liked it because once again Timothy Olyphant's in it at some point in time, and I enjoy Timothy Olyphant, and he
well,
also kind of plays the same role he does in Justified. So if you haven't watched Justified, you should watch Justified because they released another
Justified.
series called Justified Primeval, and that fucking shit is awesome. So that has like 6 seasons, by the way, and then they've got Primeval after that. So or City Primeval is what it's called, but so keep that in mind.
Well,
But yeah,
Star
man, they're
Wars.
doing some shit outside. What the fuck is going on?
You gonna need to regulate here.
Good Lord. I don't know. Like I said, man, this city is fucking whack.
Well, hopefully this isn't the last known photo. StrangeBus was
Oh no.
swallowed by the city.
I think I'll be okay. I think it's just loud ass kids. It's either loud ass kids or people.
Yeah.
One of the two.
So Star Wars is not dead yet.
I mean, I don't think it will be. It's just not interesting for some people. I mean,
Hmm.
to be honest, it's really hard to tell,
People who care about
especially if
quality.
they're still making content for it, right?
Okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, that could have been said 20 years ago too. I mean, so
Hmm.
keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people were just in George Lucas about it
Yeah.
too, and then he
But
just eventually gave up.
but yeah, but
So
at a certain point, does it ever turn a corner? Like, does the criticism ever get to the point where they actually want to do better, or they just kind of just shake the
why,
status quo?
when you're selling it to
Should I?
children,
So you're thinking they'll just
when your main demographic is kids and young adults?
keep on doing what they're doing?
I mean, if people my age and older can still enjoy it, fine. But like, I know people who are older who still watch it and they are cool with it. And like I said, they can recycle as much as they want.
Yeah.
But they still cater to kids and young adults. So, like I said,
So it's not made for us anymore.
most kids and young adults who can enjoy it, who choose to enjoy it, will. I'm not saying all of them will. It's just to me, it's an easier demographic to cater to.
Easier to
You
please.
know, you're not as picky. Yeah. So
Too jaded. Ah, sad. I mean,
it
that stuff
happens
is
with a lot of media, though. Like
it's never gone away. It's still there. You can still enjoy it, but yeah, it's like nothing to look forward to. Yeah,
nothing's ever really dead.
no one's ever really gone. Yeah,
Like, no, nothing's ever really gone.
yeah. I think the only movie I'm looking forward to is the new Dune, but at the same time, I got to realize that it's still it's going to be what it is. Like it can't be everything it could possibly be
Fuck yeah, Dune.
because it's going to
Yeah,
be
Dune.
it's going to match the first movie. So yeah,
Give it your Dune.
as opposed to Timothy
I
Chalamet
did.
as Willy Wonka, like that's gonna flop hard. It looks like Oz the
I
Great
don't even want to talk about it.
It's like
Don't even want to talk about it.
I'm Willy Wonka. No,
We
he's
need
not.
to. We need to think of some new shit for real.
Yep. Honestly, the Lynch movie's decent, but I gotta say I have a soft spot for this 2001 sci-fi versions. For me, Ribby, those were fire and forget. Like at the time, I was curious to see them, but I haven't gone back and rewatched them. Like I've never.
No.
Every time I've thought about it, like to me, those Sci-Fi Channel ones were more like, like you're doing a project in school where you've got to read the book and you got to do a book report on it, and to refresh your memory, you like watch you know, the movie version where it's just like a straight adaptation. Production quality is absolute dog shit, he says. Yeah, we're closer to the book. Yeah, yeah, they have entire sections of dialogue. They put the dialogue in the mouths of different
But
people, but it's all there. Yeah.
but
Yep.
a movie that has really nasty production quality can still be good.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Well, and the David
There
Lynch one
are. I mean,
had its own aesthetic, and
referencing Evil Dead here.
Evil
Just
Dead.
saying.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn. You can see the cloth background. They were on the soundstage. Yeah, Children of Dune, I was more disappointed by because it was so weird and so like intense with like all the palace intrigue and stuff, and I felt like they took the easy way out with a lot of that stuff. And I mean, I guess yeah, there's limitations of budget, there's limitations of what you can show on TV, and the time compression, and they're compressing two novels into one series. I mean, it's still worth watching. But yeah, when he
So,
starts to turn into the sandworm mutant, it's like they just slapped a couple pieces of latex onto his arm. It's like, okay, this looks really stupid.
but you let your mind do the rest of the work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay,
Let your imagination do the talking.
yep.
You
And
don't understand the full context
see, that's
of
why
what exactly is happening with
I can
children are
appreciate
doing.
I can appreciate low budget movies that had big ideas, because you walk away from it and you're thinking about, oh yeah, what would it be like if the rest of the stuff in the universe happened? And that was true of Star Wars as well, because you got the glimpse of this tiny little corner of the world, but you knew that there was all these other planets and all this other history, and they didn't have to
Right.
show it to
So
you. You could
with
just imagine what it would be.
the EU though, they just filled in some of the gaps.
Yeah, they did some of it.
I'm gonna make that clear. I don't think I've stated that. I don't think I've stated that before, right? They didn't fill in all of the gaps as much as possible, like they're trying to do now.
Yeah,
They filled in enough of the gaps, even when the prequels came out, right? So
some of
the
it they
prequels
were
just added EU with the prequels, right?
they were deliberately
So,
holding back because Lucas was like, "Don't cover this area because I'm going to cover it in my movie."
well, but still, even then,
Yeah, even then he didn't.
uh,
We see the
with
beginning of the war and we
the
see
original
the end of the
trilogy,
war,
it
but
was
we
just
don't see all everything else in between.
no. With the original trilogy, most of the EU was covered stuff like stuff that happened after Episode 4
Yeah.
and between Episode 5, or in between Episode 5 and 6. It was just adventures of Luke Skywalker, or it was new characters that got hopped in between. Like,
Or
hey,
it's Tales of the
check out
Jedi
these
like thousands of
adventures.
years before anything. So,
Well, not during the OG trilogy.
oh,
Like, I'm just talking about during 4, 5, and 6. Like before the prequels, you just had like stuff that happened a little bit beforehand, and then you got stuff that
oh,
came after Return of the Jedi.
from like
You got like the New
84
Jedi Order
to
after that.
98. Yeah.
I mean, whenever that shit came out, but like Shaw's Empire was like '95, man. That was, uh, and I don't know when New Jedi Order came out, but
97,
then you had the prequels,
96.
and that stuff was like you had like Revolt Commando, and you had just stuff to help give the clone troopers a little bit more life, because that was fun. That helped spark some life in the movies, I think.
Hmm.
But you just kind of got a little bit extra story, just some adventures, or you got the Padawan novels, which kind of
Okay, Tales of the Jedi was
gave some
93 to 98. So actually, I guess that was pretty early.
okay. But like anyway, like stuff like the Padawan novels with like Obi-Wan, and then you have the same Padawan novels with Anakin, just stuff that happened during just adventures of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and then adventures of Obi-Wan and Anakin right before Episode 2
Yeah.
and Episode 1. Like you didn't get like shit
Yeah, you had the
that was like
trilogies of novels
let's
where you
fill in the gaps all over the place, or stuff that filled in like what stuff they were talking about in the movie, like oh this adventure during the movie they talked about, oh here's the movie or here's the show that talked about that. No, it was just if you liked Star Wars and you wanted to read, you wanted a little bit more, you could read about it. It didn't stop you from making your own adventures with your action figures or playing the video games or doing what you wanted to. Um, so it was just books and video games,
hmm
and then like you could do the role playing game later on if you were an older person.
Oh yeah. And those are the perfect
So
place to experience a lot of that stuff. I feel like you can get away with a lot more with like retreading things from the movies because it's a totally different medium in like a comic or an RPG or an action game. versus throwing it up
Indeed.
on screen.
But here, just a couple things before we end the cast.
Yeah, we got to wrap things up so you can
Um,
make your way to Raccoon City.
well, I'm not leaving yet.
Could he be the one?
Because we were talking about Star Wars, or we're talking about Star Wars, and we were talking about Starfield.
Starfield.
So
Yeah.
they are making a Star Wars full conversion mod for Starfield. And let me go ahead and I'll bring up. This is just PC games, but I don't know if it's released yet. But here, let me go ahead and don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me share my screen. Be
Ruby
able
Knight.
to see that?
Oh, yeah. Starfield Total Conversion mod will basically be a new Star Wars game. See, why wait for Disney to do it?
Yeah. So it's so they're kind of already adding stormtrooper textures and stuff. It's still kind of, I think, pretty much being updated. And like I said, with Starfield having different factions, the United Colonies becomes kind of like the Empire. Freestar Collective becomes Rebel Alliance, and they added androids becoming droids. Um, so that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, they're still kind of working on it.
What was that game, that VR game that had that Star Wars mod that was really cool, where you could like saber people and stuff? You streamed it.
Blade and Sorcery.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a really cool function.
It's really fun.
It was like I can't remember what the actual what the mod was called. I can't exactly remember,
Sabers and Force or something.
but it was a total conversion mod though, and they added like saber hilts and all sorts of shit. And they updated it like every time the game updated. So
It almost was like a part of the
now
game.
Blade and Sorcery's gotten well, yeah, Blade Sorcery has gotten like way more complicated. They've added like a different engine in the game and stuff. So
Really? Wow.
like yeah, I can't imagine what that mod looks like now because they added like new blasters. I remember and like
New blasters.
different row of like sabers and skins and stuff. Different locations. So, yeah, that'd be pretty fun to check out again. I just hate trying to stream my Oculus. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh man, but it sure is fun to watch.
Oh yeah, and speaking of VR, tried and failed. What do you mean? Oh,
They tried and died.
I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I tried and failed once with that. That turned out to be a comical error.
The best episode
But,
ever.
but
Yeah.
the speaking of VR, Resident Evil 4 remake will have a VR mode along with Separate Ways and the Mercenaries update. It's going to be interesting. Considering that Oculus just released not too long ago the Resident Evil 4 VR game, which was the OG Resident Evil 4, so that'll be kind of interesting that now everybody's going to have access to a VR version of Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Wow.
So that'll be fun.
VR tabletop simulator. Maybe.
But you can do that already.
Yeah. Yeah, Ribby with the Dune references. That's the thing though.
Dune is fun.
So many of those Dune references are going to be left out of the new movie, and I'm just going to say them in the theater anyway, because that's who I am. I mean,
The Dune guy.
I'm the kind of guy that'd be watching The Dark Knight Rises and in the theater just kind of mutter to myself. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Where were the other drugs going?
Where are they? Swear to me. Yeah.
Where were the other drugs going on? Oh man. All right, and then last but not least, um, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but Unity ran into some trouble.
Yeah,
You sent me some links.
we should acknowledge it. We should acknowledge it. So if you're one of these people out there, with big dreams, got the Unity engine because Unreal
Big
Engine
dreams.
is
Okay,
expensive, and you want to make your own
slow
game.
down. slow, slow down. Yes. So for anybody who's not familiar, Unity is the pretty much free and slash pay per like subscription, I guess. Um, game engine. I'm not completely familiar with it, but I believe it is still free. You might have to check that on yourself, but it does have a subscription service. But it is mostly a engine that's used for um, developers who want to get into the field for making games. Um, it can be used pretty much universally, so anybody who wants to use basic assets to get a feel for how to make video games, kind of just get their feet wet, and then start moving on into better game creation. And then when they want to start working with better game engines, they're going to still have to learn, of course. But this is kind of just an easy way to get involved. Um, a lot of great games have been done in Unity. A lot of great games, big ones, big titles, and I can kind of give some big examples now. Um, Hold on, because I don't ever think of them off the top of my head, but like Hollow Knight, I guess Cuphead. That was one I didn't know, but Subnautica, Rust. I didn't know Cities Skylines was in Unity. I could be wrong on that one. Beat Saber, um, RimWorld, Total of Eternity, stuff like that. Really good games have been made in the Unity game engine. A lot of shit games have been made in the Unity game engine.
Sure.
Um, but the fact of the matter is that people who take their time, their effort to know the game or know the game they're making, um, you know, you can make a really good game in Unity. You just have to be able to use the asset or assets that you're making. So, however, as of the 19th of September, they announced that what was it? They're going to be charging a fee. You have the? Do you have the? Oh, you actually have the thing posted.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Kurgan, whenever you're ready.
I was looking at their page here. So this is student and hobbyist. So student is free, sign up. Um, Personal is free. Individuals and teams, so it's $2,040 per year per seat. Um, but yeah, there are several articles about what happened. There was this initial announcement that they were going to charge 20 cents per install, but they've since clarified that it doesn't apply retroactively, so it's not like everybody out there suddenly is going to get charged a whole bunch of money. Um,
So, as in,
there's
like, if you've
thresholds,
had a game,
yeah, that you
as in,
develop.
if you had a game sell a lot, it's not just going to start charging you the fees if you meet the eligibility requirements. Meaning that if your game sells a certain amount of copies or meets a certain amount of installs, you will not meet the 1 to 20 cent fee per, I believe it's install or dollar amount.
Yeah, I hate reading these social media posts, but this is what Unity is saying now. We want to acknowledge the confusion and frustration we heard after we announced our new runtime fee policy. We'd like to clarify some of your top questions and concerns. Who is impacted by this price increase? Price increase is very targeted. In fact, more than 90% of our customers will not be affected by this change. Customers who will be impacted are generally those who have found a substantial scale in downloads and revenue, and have reached both our install and revenue thresholds. This means a low or no fee for creators who have not found scale success yet, and a modest one-time fee for those who have. So fees on new installs only. Once you meet 2 install and revenue thresholds, you only pay the runtime fee on new installs after January 1st, 2024. It's not perpetual. You only pay once for an install, not an ongoing perpetual license royalty like a revenue share model. So I think a lot of people were pretty pissed, and they got a lot of negative press. I'm not sure how people are reacting to this, though. So here they define it. So trials, partial play demos, and automation installs, develops charges. We're not going to count these towards your install count. Early access games are not considered demos. Web and streaming games, we're not going to count web and streaming games towards your install count either. Or charity installs, they're not going to charge a reinstall, because people were wondering about that. Like, could somebody just like mess up the whole thing by just like uninstalling and reinstalling like over and over? Fraudulent install charges. Okay, so it's 11.6 million views. Oh, so X has likes, but they don't have dislikes. I don't know how any of this works. I'm not on Twitter. But yeah, it kind of makes me think again of like the D&D OGL thing, where like they put something out and people are like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, just kidding, just kidding. It was just a big misunderstanding. We're not really gonna like start nickel and diming everybody now with this thing that they've been relying upon for their development.
Right.
I mean, not everything has to be monetized, right? Or it does now.
So, I mean, that's what I brought up previously. Is I feel that, I mean, and this is just more than this, just more than this form of media. Is I feel like everybody's kind of claiming a dollar amount for everything they do, and the only excuse is that everything has a price, right?
Yeah.
My art has a price. My creation has a price. My
Time.
my worth has a price. And in theory, that is true. I believe that if you create it, if you work hard on it, it is true. But I also think that encourages a lot of people to just continually scam the shit out of you. Um, we didn't hear this stuff 10, 20 years ago when we were doing Flash games. And granted, there were probably people who did need to have their stuff charged or paid for. Or there were people who were going through some hard times and wished or tried to do that, and it didn't happen because we were in the wild west of the internet era. But the big thing here was I appear to be frozen again, Jurgen. Is my window not active? There we go.
Yeah.
But
keep you
the big thing is that there are kids and younger adults with time on their hands who are literally just trying to gain experience. And when we encourage people to pay for that stuff, we don't encourage them to branch themselves out there. Some people still do, but a lot of people just go, oh, okay, I'm like professional now, or I'm worth something now. I can just start charging people for my inexperienced whatever this is. And I'm not talking about, some people just think I'm referencing them when I say this, like, when it comes to music or art, like I said, people will draw on sites like DeviantArt, whatever, and they just think that it's worth something. And now they're claiming they just slap copyright on it or, whatever. Like I said, I feel like a lot of that shit needs to change. I feel like we kind of need to go back to the day where free entertainment was free entertainment. And there were sites where if you wanted to get professional or you wanted to get into a thing where shit cost money, you could. Because there were places where people noticed you for the stuff that you did,
Yeah,
and
just being noticed, just
there were places
blatantly.
that you were just putting shit out,
Yeah.
or you just put shit out, and like you either got really good at it, and then you were picked up to a website where you got word of mouth, and then you could move to that stuff, or you were just really good and you went to that stuff. But now we're not just paying you for your talent; we're paying you just because. And that's the thing about living in an era of the internet where everybody's encouraged to just be a leader or be a whatever they want. You get on a podcast and everybody's talking about like I like to listen to documentaries and like to follow certain content creators, and there's some that I agree with and there's some that I don't, because they will literally report on anybody's fall of anything. Now, it's not just people who had a fall and like they're way down in the dumps, and like these are people who like made a small mistake and like they've admitted to it. Like I was talking about Dane Cook, like they're like
Hmm.
this guy corrected himself, right? And usually people know about it, but there's documentaries on it already, like or shit that like could be easily reported on. You know, um, stuff that I don't think that needs a documentary, but they'll spin on it, right? Because it makes good news. If I wanted a dramatic story, I'd watch it on TV, or I'd go to the news for it. I don't need my internet to be just like the news. There's a reason I go to another. There's a reason we have another form of media.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just one of those things where once you start running out of I guess people to report on or dramaticisms, you need to make your own. Just anybody who fucked up. So, and with YouTube, it needs to be a tagline that's so dramatic that people click on it,
Yeah. The
and the
clickbait
thumbnail
never
needs to be
ends.
big.
It never ends.
Yeah, so I, I bet the response here would be like, well, my title isn't crazy or whatever, and compared to those people who have the
You're not doing the Macaulay Culkin
thumbnail,
pose with the thumbnail.
yeah, and you don't have to do that to make it, clickbait. But that's what I'm saying. It's like when I do my streaming, my stream isn't worth anything. You can sub, but that's because you want to. You want to support the stream.
You
You're
want
funding to
to
improve my stream
sub, don't you?
because I'm pulling everything out of my fucking pocket. There's nothing that goes towards
Yeah.
that stream. I'm asking you to do. And when you go to somebody else's stream, anybody who has a channel that's either affiliate or above, most of the time, not anybody that I usually know, right? So if I'm supporting them, most of the time they're not asking for donations or anything like that. But
Yeah.
there are some big people,
Just a
some people
goodwill.
that I have supported
Yeah, just for
that
your
are
goodwill.
are pretending like they're not, but they are, because they'll do subathons and they'll do like supportathons and blah blah blah. And if you're doing one of those things, you
You're
cannot pretend
you're
you're
begging.
super thankful, because
Yeah.
people there who are joining your stream are paying you for that content.
Yeah.
And to me, what you're paying them gratuitous amounts of money for, to me, isn't worth it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're asking them for studio quality entertainment, and all you're kind of doing, unless you're doing a big project, is you're sitting on your butt playing a game they could be playing.
Yeah.
And like like I said, I don't ask for that stuff anymore, because it's one of those things where I think it's redundant, because we kind of live in a world where the corporation wants to take the money out of your pocket anyway. Why would I do that for other people? So when you donate, you're doing it of your own accord. I'm not going to remind you. I know they want me to do that and all that other garbage. You will do it because you want to. There are perks for doing so. I have a Patreon. I have all that garbage. There, I don't put people in tiers. I don't specialize in any of that garbage. The only time I ever do that is if I have a giveaway.
It's like, oh, you
So
you put a lot of people in tears. I'm gonna say. No, I know what you
no, I mean
mean.
like
No, I
I
was taking
don't.
it a
Yeah,
different
but
way.
I don't specialize because once
Yep.
again, I also feel like that's putting
S-
somebody above.
Ultra
I
monetization
feel like
content.
it's like bribery because there are
Yep.
streamers who also feel like it's wrong for somebody to gift a sub and then call themselves out because they think they're like attention hogging, but yet they'll Patreon somebody and then say like, well, you get this specialized thing because you spent this much money.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's the same thing. If you gift somebody $50, shouldn't they be able to have their own stream noticed or be able to say what they want because they gave that much money?
Hmm.
You know, and that's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
yeah, like so pretty much at the end of the
Fair
day,
treatment.
I don't do that. You want to come in and do that stuff, you can do it with permission, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
we can do events if I get enough people, all that stuff. It's just one of those things where, to me, back in the day when it was just you wanted to tune in because this shit was better than TV, and it didn't cost you much, and it was
Yeah.
just fun to do.
Yeah. It's cheap thrill.
I mean, granted, people got paid back in the day too, but like that's what I'm saying is like if you're popular enough, people will pay to watch your stream improve, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beg for it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I've
and
certainly
I'm not.
experienced a lot of that. People are just like, either they want to help me out or they're like, dang, that guy's looks like he's struggling. Here, here's something to make it a little bit better. It's like, oh, thanks.
Oh,
I mean, I'd like to sell T-shirts,
yeah,
but I mean, I have no illusions that I'm gonna lose money on them. Like, it's not gonna be a big you know cash cow project just for fun. I sent you some T-shirts.
yeah, and like I said,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're good. I like them, and like I said, the bus will go without people on it, so I don't mind doing streams every now and then, and I'll still do them and upload the vods, and
I
like I said,
think
I'll have to start doing my YouTube uploads again. So
I think you
you
need to
know,
sell the hat, like the beanie with the little SB logo on it, or the little cartoon bus.
okay, I need to go back to doing merchandise again. Yeah, yeah, I'll get back into that when I start getting people again,
Yeah.
because that was kind of it
It's
wasn't
hard to
rough.
do.
It was just
Yeah,
a long process.
it's hard to do regular streams. I mean, especially the ones you do are just like, yeah, I mean, I have to regulate myself because I mean, 8 hours of streaming is tough for me, and I don't have kids to watch or anything like that. So I guess you, as long as you
It
know
wasn't super bad.
what you can do.
Like I said, the last couple times I've been streaming the last couple days.
Hmm.
Well, not this week, but last week I was on for I don't know. Hopefully my VODs aren't gone, but because I think I forgot to upload them. So,
Ooh,
but yeah, like so I've been on
check on those. Yeah.
for a little while, but and it was pretty regular. But I should be on tomorrow, and then Saturday. If I'm not on tomorrow, I'll be on Saturday and Sunday.
Get yourself a copy of Baldur's
So
Gate. Check out the
yeah,
stream.
and then I've got to be on. I've got to go to Lincoln, Nebraska, I believe, on Monday. So that's, oh no, wait, 26th is when I'm going. Yeah, so Tuesday, never mind. So I might do a stream on Monday if I can do it, depending on what's going on. And then the rest of the week just depends on whether I'm working or not. So,
Yep. Well, we'll get
yeah.
PulseCon tomorrow, so we'll get our shout out. Maybe and Carmine will just kind of like roll past the camera on a skateboard, like holding a sign that says Ogre Horde 2024. And we go, ah! We'll freak out for a day, and then do our streams and
Yeah, that's in Carmine,
give you a raid.
the real VIP.
Yeah, that guy just loves leading us down a trail of breadcrumbs. He really does.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's He's been good to us, but it kind of makes me feel bad for him. Like, okay, you guys do all this work and you'd get totally snubbed at PulseCon. I mean, I guess they got their action figures to hawk where the real money is, but I don't know. They'll get their little moment, hopefully. All right, so we do some Karl Casey to play
Well,
us out, or closing thought.
yeah, if you want, it's all good.
All right, thanks, man. StrangeBus, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
and once again, I will shout myself out. That's twitch.tv/TheStrangeBus. You can catch me on Friday or Saturday, or both, doing that giveaway. So
Baldur's Gate
tune
3.
in. Yep, more Baldur's Gate 3. Just gonna try to continue where I left off. Probably just start either on Act 3 or parts of Act 2. So we'll see. But
Nice.
have a good night, everybody.
All right, thanks everybody
Take
for your
care.
support. We'll catch you tomorrow. Rantcast, yeah. And we'll get some Karl Casey playing us out.